They said the mountains were cursed. The locals whispered it. The intel teams dismissed it. But the men of SEAL Team Torex, hardened by years of dust, blood, and impossible missions, knew there was something different about this ridge, something that made even the bravest man glance over his shoulder. The valley below was a jagged wound carved between cliffs, the kind of terrain that swallowed radios, blocked satellites, and turned night into a weapon. The kind of place where rescue wasn't expected, only recovered bodies to IT was supposed to be a quick extraction, 20 minutes in and out. But plans didn't survive contact. Not out here. The ambush came first as a whisper of dust, then a scream of gunfire. Chief Keller was the first to take a hit. A round caught his shoulder, spinning him behind a boulder. Ortiz dragged him back, yelling for cover. Hassan, the newest guy, barely 23, panicked until Captain Ward barked an order that snapped him back into his skin. They fought. They held. They survived. Barely, but by dawn, they were trapped. Ammo low. Keller bleeding too fast. Reinforcements too far. The ridge above them crawling with insurgents who moved like ghosts among the rocks, and for the first time in years, these elite warriors felt the creeping, cold certainty of death. Ward crouched behind a ruined slab of stone, wiping dust and sweat from his eyes, scanning the endless ridgelines. Radio's useless. We're jammed, he muttered. Ortiz lit the last flare, a red spark shooting into the weak morning sky. Even if they see it, nobody's close enough, he said. Birds can't fly over this valley. They'll get picked apart before they reach us. It was the truth no commander wanted to say. They were alone. The sun crawled up the mountains, slow, merciless. Keller's breaths became shallow. Hassan kept applying pressure to the wound, hands trembling. The kid's eyes were wet, though he tried to hide it. We're not dying today, Ward insisted, but even his voice was strained. They heard movement above them, footsteps, rustling gravel. Shadows shifting, their enemies were closing in. Ward checked his last mag. 3 rounds. 3. His men weren't in much better shape. It's been an honor, boys, Ortiz whispered. No1 argued then, faintly, something trembled in the air. A ripple. A vibration. Hassan looked up. Sir, do you hear that? Ward frowned. Here WH. A low thunder rolled over the mountains, so distant it could have been imagination. Another rumble followed. Stronger. Like the sky itself was waking up. Ortiz slowly stood, squinting toward the horizon. No way. That's impossible. The sound grew deeper, heavy, angry, unmistakable. A growl the earth itself recognized. Ward felt it in his bones before he understood. No, he murmured. There's no A-10s within 500 miles. Command grounded them this week. It can't be. But the sound kept rising. The insurgents on the ridge seemed to hear it too. Their chatter shifted, sharp and nervous. They scanned the horizon. The sky beyond the peaks shimmered with heat, then it burst over the ridge like a steel beast from another world, twin engines blazing. Gray wings wide and brutal. A shark mouth nose pointed straight at the cliffs. A-10 Thunderbolt 2. The Warthog, the angel of destruction. It screamed past the ridge so low the sound punched through the valley like a shockwave. Ward's jaw dropped. That's no regular flyover. That pilot's insane. The insurgents fired upward in panic, bullets arcing uselessly as the A-10 banked hard, its wings slicing the sky, lining up for another pass. The radio on Ward's chest crackled, sudden, violent static, then a voice, rough. Calm. Deep. A SEAL Team Torex, hold your position. Help's here. Ward froze. Identify yourself. Another growl roared overhead as the plane circled, just a janitor passing through. The voice answered. Hassan blinked. Did he say, janitor? Before Ward could question it, the A-10 nosed downward, its GAU-8 Avenger spun to life like the roar of a dragon waking from sleep. The mountains shook. The ridge exploded in a rain of dust, rock, and terror. Insurgents dove for cover but found none. No one escaped the wrath of that cannon. Another pass. Precise. Controlled. Devastating. The Warthog ripped the ambush apart with surgical fury. The enemy scattered, their attack collapsing like sand under a tsunami. Ward stared up at the plane as it thundered overhead. That's unreal. Who the hell flies like that? Ortiz grinned through his exhaustion. Someone with nothing left to lose. Keller, barely conscious, whispered, "Sounds like an angel." The A-10 swooped once more, dropping a smoke marker just 20 meters from their position, perfect placement. Then the pilot spoke again, "Medevac inbound. ETA 8 minutes. Stay alive." Ward keyed his radio, desperate. "Pilot, what's your call sign?" Silence for several seconds, then call sign? "I don't have one. I'm a civilian contractor." "Or I was." Ward frowned. "Who are you?" The voice exhaled like he'd been avoiding that question for years. "Name's Daniel Hayes." Ortiz snapped to attention. "Wait. Hayes? As in the ghost of Kandahar?" Hassan whispered, eyes wide. "The legend every soldier had heard. A pilot who vanished years ago after a mission gone wrong. A pilot who supposedly walked away from the Air Force, disappeared into civilian life. Some said he was dead. Others said he was hiding. No one expected he'd be flying an A-10 again. I thought he was a janitor now," Ortiz muttered in disbelief. The radio crackled with Daniel's dry reply, "I still am. School janitor during the week. Single dad full-time." Ward stared at the sky in stunned silence. "Then how'd you get this plane?" "Long story," Daniel replied. "Borrowed it." "Borrowed?" Ward almost choked. "From who?" "Longer story." The Warthog looped wide again, engine thrumming like a giant's heartbeat. It wasn't firing now, just watching, guarding, making sure nothing moved within a mile of the SEALs. Ward couldn't believe it. A single father. A janitor. Flying like a born predator through the most dangerous airspace in the region, protecting them with a fury that felt personal. A father's fury. Minutes later, the sound of rotor blades filled the valley, 2 medevac birds sweeping in behind Daniel's air cover. The SEALs waved smoke, guiding them down. Keller was loaded up first, oxygen mask pressed to his face. Before the second medic could help Ward aboard, he turned back to the sky. The A-10 was still circling, as if the pilot refused to leave until every last man was safe. Ward keyed his radio again. "Hayes. Why did you come? How did you even know we were here?" A breath. "Quiet. Heavy, my daughter's school had a half-day," Daniel answered softly. "I checked my old encrypted channels out of habit. Heard your distress ping. No one else did." "But why intervene?" Ward asked. "Why risk everything?" Another long silence, then Daniel's voice returned, rougher now, almost broken. "Because someone once saved me," he said. "Now it's my turn." Ward swallowed. The medevac pilot yelled they had to go. The SEALs climbed aboard, helplessly watching the A-10 make one last pass over the ridge, sweeping the area clean in a wide protective arc. The moment the rotors lifted them into the sky, Daniel spoke one final time, "Glad you made it out." Ward leaned toward the radio. "Hayes, where are you going now?" But the channel crackled, static silence. The A-10 climbed into the sun, engines glowing, then it vanished beyond the mountains, like a ghost returning to the shadows. A ghost who lived somewhere in the world as a quiet janitor, waiting for the next scream over the ridge, because when the world forgot him, when the military buried his file, when life reduced him to a mop in a school hallway, his soul never stopped flying. His instincts never died, and when the SEALs lost hope, a single dad janitor became the deadliest thing in the sky. Brrrrrrrrt. If you want part 2 expanded, or photo prompts for each chapter, just tell me.